Hey, book friends, get cozy. Let's talk about this book. Why do I keep saying get cozy? Anyways, hey y'all. Today I'm going to talk about The Ember and the Ashes by Sabaa Tahereh. I really love that book, but I will give it a chance and see. Kindle. I downloaded originality 5 out of 5. My overall. With Stacy, I am excited to share with you the newest book that I read. Alabama and the audio and the town that was mispronounced. Yep. This book, Ember and the Ashes, y'all saw me reading this on my live. And I want to thank y'all because if it wasn't for me being held accountable reading this book on live, I probably would not have read it. And it is our bonus book. I ordered this book because in our book club, I always tell y'all we have a main book, which is like everyone is supposed to read that book before we meet up. And then we have our bonus book. And that's as if you are a fast reader and you want something else or something more. And it's supposed to be different genres. So the first book that we are reading, which I didn't start it yet, is called Project Hail Mary. Y'all know it's going to be a movie coming out soon. And this is this book, Project Hail Mary. And I have obligated myself to reading this book. March 15th is the book club meeting. But I'm in a mood of reading more of like Black authors right now because it's Black History Month. No other reason than that. But I read this one because I don't know what I think she's like Indian or something like that. But I was like, I'll just give her a try. Solely off of that. And I'm just like, whatever. And I do have my post-it in the back about my rating. And I just didn't want to read Project Hail Mary right now. I do want to read it. I do want to read the book. But I'm just trying to listen to Black voices. I just want to hear Black voices. And so that's what I've been doing. Today, I was reading The Bluest Eyes, which I'm probably going to take a break from that because that book is heavy, it's dark. If you've read it, it has 3 words I'll say about The Bluest Eyes by Toni Morrison. And I'm not smart enough to read this book. I'm not smart enough to get through it, but I'm like more than halfway through this book. This book is heavy. It involves incest. It involves molestation. It involves a rape. It involves underage children, girls, and Pecola Breedlove, a young Black girl, prays every day for beauty. And it's like all about colorism and The Bluest Eyes and Shirley Temple and that time. And I just like, all about how you look with the dark skin, curly hair, brown eyes. It sets you apart from like the blonde hair, blue eyes, which she believes it allows her to fit in. So her dream is to grow up and just fit in with the adversities of how she looks. And I'm just like, oh Lord. So this book, it is heavy racism, racist colorism, all the things. They do have trigger warnings in this. This book was written in 1970. So I'm halfway through this, but I don't know. I only have maybe 70 pages left. But this is just like, I don't do reviews on classics. Like I said, it's like take it or leave it. This book is going to outlive me. It is on the banned book list. So if you read this, just tell me your thoughts on The Bluest Eyes. But at the book at hand, this book is a young adult fantasy book. It's a dystopian, they want to say romance, but I think it was a small nugget of romance. They didn't have a lot of romance in this. One of the son and then his friend, they kind of had like an attraction to each other. And then the girl, she was like a slave and they kind of had like chemistry, instant chemistry. This book is written in 2015. I read this book I read this book February the 14th, Valentine's Day through February the 16th. And like I said, the copyright for it is 2015. I read the hardback cover of this book, hardcover. Would I read it again? No. Would I recommend this book? No. The reason I'm reading it, Jaslyn, she recommended it for our bonus book for our book club. So that's why I'm reading this book. Not my choice. The themes, characters that resonated with me, it was very oppressed characters. The son, his mom was like the main queen, I'll say, the commander, and she enslaved this girl. But it starts off with her brother being kidnapped and her family being murdered and all of the different things. I'm just like, okay, all the family drama, the kidnapping, her searching for her brother, the son is like going tick for tack with his mom. I had no connection with any of the characters in this book. And it just got lost because it was such a thick, heavy book. And you're just like, okay. She listed all these names. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. I had a whole page of names. Let me see. So they had Darren. They had Lila, Pop, Nan, the Emperor. That was some people. The Scholars people. The Martians. Blackcliff. That's the mask. The school that's training. Eli, Helen, Zara, the Resistance, Demetrius, the black-haired guy, the black-haired girl, Marcus, Zach, Agar, Kane, Keenan, Tariq, Jonan, Mari, Mason, Liz, Sana, Aaron, Leander, Dex, Ferris, Julius, Thaddeus, the General Quinn, Taurus, Tataris. I'm like, all these different names. That's about 30 names of people. Now, you know that is too many names to be putting in a book. Too many names. And she built up a whole world. This book was supposed to read as a standalone in 2015, and then Hunger Games came out and they start building up contracts to get the series and multiple books. And now she has like 4 books off of this book. And it's so obvious that she was trying to build this book up to get a spinoff or the book 2. So this dystopian, I had no connection. It was very dark. They went into like, it looked like Hades in my mind, like the underworld and death and dark, and people were dying and getting murdered and raped. It was just a lot going on for it to be fantasy. I wanted somebody to have like superpowers, but it wasn't that type of book. It was just like, okay, maybe the book, their powers weren't like as magical as I would have liked this fantasy to be. And my opinion about the author, I don't have any opinion about her. She grew up in California, and her family's 18-room motel. There, she spent her times devouring fantasy novels, reading her brother's comic book stashes, and playing guitar badly. She began writing An Ember and the Ash while she was working nights as a newspaper editor. She likes thunders, indie rock, garnish socks, and all things nerd. So she lives, well, I don't know if she still does because this was a decade ago, San Francisco Bay Area with her family. She is going to be at BookCon, so that's another pro that I had from reading this book. So my opinion about the writer style, I want to meet her. I want to see what she, who she is, and find something that I like by her. But this is just not this. So her writing style, I gave it a 2 out of 5. Readability, 2 out of 5. Relatability, 1 out of 5. Personal impact, 1 out of 5. Originality, 1 out of 5. And the plot overall, 1 out of 5. What I liked was the dual storylines. One was with the queen's son, and then one was with the enslaved girl. I did like the dual stories. They all kind of coherent together. They were really good. They had too many characters in this book, and it was obviously a setup for the next book. I don't like that. Like, read and let me focus on this book before you start trying to set up your next book. Like, you trying to set something up and you don't even have this one to par. So no. No quotes for me. Spice, I'll say a 1 out of 5. They did have a little bit of spice, but it wasn't like as romantic as they would put it, in my opinion. Overall, I gave this book like a 2 out of 5. Would I recommend this book? No. And maybe it's because of the age of this book, because I didn't find out till today that this book was written in 2015. But I knew something was off, that it just wasn't, I mean, it's timeless, I guess. And it's a pretty book. It's heavy. It's pretty. It has the map. See the maps. I was going back and forth with those maps. And then it has a glossary, or I can say the academy, what they have here. And that, ignore my note that I put in there, but they have all of the list of things in this book. I will say, okay, I will tell you the same thing I tell every slave. So I ain't like how, I guess because I'm reading this in Black History Month, and just like slave was just very triggering to me. The oppression, the, am I saying the word right? Oppressed was just the theme of this. And I just don't like books that are very oppressed. And that's what I'm figuring out. If you have something like that, it's triggering to me. So the resistance had tried to penetrate the school countless times. I have discovered it every time. If you're working with the resistance, if you contact them, if you think of contacting them, I will know it. I will destroy you. So that's what it says on the back of this book. In the inside, it says, Lila is a slave. Elis is a soldier. Neither is free. Under the Marshall's Empire, defiance is met with death. Those who do not vow their blood and their bodies to the emperor risk the execution of their loved ones and destruction of all they hold dear. It is the brutal world inspired by the ancient Rome that Lila lives with her grandparents and older brother. The family ekes out existing in the emperor's impoverished back streets. They do not challenge the emperor. They've seen what happened to those who do. But when Lila's brother is arrested for treason, Lila is forced to make a decision in exchange to help him from rebels who promise to rescue her brother. She will risk the life to spy for them from within the emperor's greatest military academy. There, Layla meets Ela, the school's finest soldier, and secretly the most unwilling. Ela wants only to be free from the tyranny he's being trained to enforce. He and Layla will soon realize that their destinies are intertwined and that their choices will change the fate of the emperor itself. So that is all that I have for this book. Besides, I didn't have any love quotes. I did not love any of the characters. My first thought was, wow, this is a pretty book. My final impression, it was like, you can't just write something and just put a pretty cover. You can. People can put a pretty cover on it and get people to say, oh, I want to read that. But this book, it was definitely aged. The ending was definitely not satisfying to me. Was it worth the read? No. Would I read it again? No. Would I recommend it? No. No. So, yep. An Ember in the Ashes.